Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is Karina from Diem Thrifts. I am a full-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay, and you can find me on Instagram and Poshmark at Diem Thrifts. Today's video is a Q&A all about consignment. I've posted I think one video about selling on consignment here on YouTube, but I have talked about it a little bit over on Instagram. I posted a few days ago that I had just picked up more inventory from a new client and I had a lot of people asking questions, so I wanted to make a video for you guys and kind of break it all down for you. Some people expressed that they were interested in getting started but didn't know how, so I hope that this video helps you guys out. If there is any question that I don't answer in this video, make sure to leave it down below, because next week I am going to be uploading a video showing my whole process of what happens when I get inventory, how I sort, how I decide what to price it at, what I tell my client, all of that, so I can answer any other questions that you may have in that video. So to make sure that you guys do not miss that video, hit that red button below and make sure you are subscribed to my channel. I love posting reseller content like this, and I try to post twice a week. So I did receive a bunch of questions. I tried to sort them out so that I wouldn't double answer a question, but I want to make sure that I'm hitting all of the points that you guys asked from me. So the first question that I received was, why did I start consigning? And I feel like I've wanted to do this for a really long time, but I didn't really get started or know how to get started until this year. I actually wrote it in my beginning of the year goals that I wanted to add consignment into my business model. And the reason I wanted to start was because I personally know a lot of people who have so many clothes and like just won't sell them themselves, and I'm like, well, let me do it for you, and you know, like, I'll get inventory and you can get some cash. But like, nobody ever really took me up on that offer. I don't know why it took me so long to find clients, but I recently took Casa Chic Store's consignment e-course, and it's inexpensive. It's pretty short, so if you guys want to take it, I will link that down below. This is not an affiliate, this is not sponsored or anything. I paid my own money for the course, I took it all, and that's how I learned majority of what I know now. But anyway, I wanted to start because I live in a small town. There is one Goodwill here that I go pretty frequently, and if I want to do any bigger sourcing trips, I venture into Portland, which is about an hour and a half away. I just thought that consigning would be a cool way to get more inventory in this town that I'm in. There's no consignment stores anywhere near here. In order to do anything like consignment, you'd either have to like send it in online or drive into Portland. So I figured that that service was something that this town kind of needed or could use. So I tried to kind of push that out into the community, and luckily I've been able to get a client. But that kind of leads me into my next question, which is, how do you find clients? So mainly it's been word of mouth, me pretty much just telling people what I do and telling people about the service that I provide. I've posted it on Facebook groups. I have had my parents or, you know, my mother-in-law tell their friends about the services that I offer, that I can sell their clothes for them, and that's how I've gotten majority of my clients. However, like a few weeks ago, I created this flyer. I just made it on Canva. It's free to use Canva, and it was so easy to make this, and I've been posting this around town. I'm hoping that this will attract more clients to me or people who want to use my services. I've also kind of been trying to blast this around Facebook just to see who will take a snap at it. I feel like this works in the town that I'm in because I'm in a very small town and there are no like buy-sell trade stores near me. I'm not 100% sure how this would work in like a bigger town. Like if I still lived in San Diego, I'm not sure how useful this would be unless you were like part of a community, like maybe posted at your gym or at your school or something. But this is how I'm hoping to drive in more clients to my consignment services. The next question that I got, and probably one of the most frequently asked questions that I got, was, do I have a contract or agreement that I give to my clients? And I'm currently in the works of creating one. I know I should have had one from the beginning just to protect myself and to protect my clients client. My clients so far have really been just like family friends. That's actually on my to-do list to do this week, is to create like a formal contract and formal agreement, just to make sure that we're on the same page. It's kind of like the same thing that you see when you sell into Plato's Closet or Buffalo Exchange. The contract that I'm going to be creating is pretty much going to lay out what platforms that I sell on, the commissions that each platform takes, how much the clients can expect to be paid out, like the percentages and everything, how long I plan on keeping my items for, and all of that. But once I have my contract drafted and have it looking the way that I want to, I would be more than happy to let you guys take a look at it. So follow me on Instagram and I will post when I have that available, and I can always send you guys a copy just so you can kind of look at it and see how I formatted mine. And then I would just recommend that you take bits and pieces of what you like and add in things that you may want your customer to be aware of. The next question that I received was, at what point does it become worth it to take on clients? I feel like this is different for everybody. For me, I'm very particular about what brands I'm looking for from my clients. My Poshmark closet is primarily mid-tier to high-tier, like higher tier, not necessarily designer, but you know, like the more like Nordstrom, higher end brands, Revolve, things like that. So that's the kind of inventory that I want to see from my clients, and I am very straightforward about that. On the flyer that I have posted everywhere, it shows some examples of the brands that I am willing to sell for other people. And on my website, you guys can look at it, I have it linked down below. I have an FAQ on there as well, and it shows what brands that I will accept, what brands that I don't want, including like fast fashion brands like Forever 21, H&M, Fashion Nova, Shein. I do not want any of those things. So I make sure that my customers know what kind of brands, what level of inventory I'm looking for. The percentage that I take is about 40 to 50%, and this was another question that people asked, and that just depends on the price that I'm selling at. Now, Poshmark takes 20%, so after the 20% is removed, I split that 40-60 or 50-50 depending on how much it sells for. I think if it's over like $100 or something, then I'll do 50-50. If it's under $100, I'll split it 40-60. I keep the 60, my clients keep the 40%. And that's just because I'm doing majority of the work. I am selling, I am shipping, I have to buy the shipping supplies and, you know, use my gas to ship it to the post office. Just all of that is included in that percentage that I take out. Since I'm receiving 60% of the selling price, I have to make sure that I'm not only making like $5 off an item, because then that would not be worth it for me. So I have to keep in mind my own sales analytics and make sure that it's all on par. Even though I am selling on consignment and I'm not getting the whole profit, I want to make sure that I'm still making it worth my time. So my average profit per item on the items that I currently am selling is about $24.66. So as long as I'm still making around that amount of money per sale, then it is worth it to me. If it's too far under, then I will probably not take that on. Then I will probably not accept that item to sell. And of course I can figure these out just by looking up comps and seeing how desirable the items are beforehand, and I make sure that these are all things that fit into that kind of standard before I tell my client that I will sell it for them. The next question is kind of a two-parter. It is, what's the time frame you'll sell your items for, and what do you do with the items afterwards? So I've been doing a 90-day period, and then after that 90 days, the customers can either tell me if they want the items back, or if they want me to donate them, or if they want me to just sell it for whatever price I can at that point. This next question I thought was a really good question. This has never happened to me, but I would kind of just come up with a scenario just to give you guys an answer. But the question was, what happens if a customer's item gets damaged while it's in your possession? So I have had times when I brought stuff home from a client and I didn't realize until after that it was damaged. Luckily, I've had really good clients, but I can only imagine that there would be some people who would try to put the blame on you, especially if it's somebody who you're not necessarily like close with. So in that case, I would just try to be extra careful to make sure that you are double, triple, quadruple checking for flaws before you bring the items to your space where you do your reselling. If it were my fault, I would probably just pay out the customer the percentage that they would have made had it sold at the price that I had listed it for. Honestly, like, it would just kind of depend on the item. Like, for example, if it was like a Louis Vuitton purse and I spilled like ink on it or something, then yeah, I would definitely pay them because that's 100% my bad. Now, if it's like a shirt that got like a little hole in it or something, I would try to mend it before I did anything. Of course, I would tell my client, but I wouldn't jump to anything too drastic. If I could fix it myself, then I would try to. The next question is there a specific condition of clothes that you sell? Like, does it need to be brand new? Can it be used? Does it need to be laundered? And I don't care if it's pre-owned or if it's new with tags or what it is, but it definitely has to be clean. It has to be in sellable condition. I have sold damaged items before for clients. For example, like my highest sale to date was this Gucci diaper bag that had holes on the bottom, but I knew that and the client knew that before we made the exchange, and of course I noted that in my listings, but since it was a designer item, it wasn't that big of a deal. But for like your regular tier, like say Free People, Madewell, Zara, things like that, definitely has to be clean, no signs of wear. I don't care if it's new with tags or if it's pre-owned, just as long as it's in a good sellable condition. If it's something that I would pick up at the thrift store, then it is okay for me to take it from a consignment client. The next question is, how do I keep track of how much I paid out to my clients or how much I made on each sale? Now, I keep a inventory / sales spreadsheet for my own personal use, and I compile all of my inventory, no matter if it is wholesale or consignment or I thrifted it or if it's from my personal closet. All of it gets compiled into a single spreadsheet. Then for each client, I will have a separate spreadsheet where I note every item that I picked up from them, and then I will mark the day that it was listed, the day that it sold, how much it sold for, the percentage that the platform took, how much I'm keeping, and how much my customer is receiving. I just keep my spreadsheets on Google Docs. That's the easiest way for me to do it. I am not savvy in spreadsheets whatsoever. I don't have any special codes in them or anything. All I do is I type in everything that I need to, and then I highlight a column and I'll put total at the bottom just so that it's easier for me to read. If you have a spreadsheet already that you use, you could probably just add another page onto that and have your different clients. I just recommend that you keep each client separate so that you don't get anything mixed up. And that goes also for your inventory. You guys have seen my inventory system before, but I just put all of my clients' inventory mixed in with everything. But on my spreadsheet, I'm putting the inventory number and the bin that it's in so that, you know, if after the 90 days I need to pull everything, I know exactly where it's at. The next question is, how do I approach lowest price with clients? Now, I feel like this is a reason why a lot of people are scared to start consigning, just because you might be faced with difficult customers or difficult, you know, consignment clients who are very particular about how much they want you to sell their items for. But the thing is, a lot of people who don't resell regularly, not necessarily as like a reseller, but people who don't, you know, venture into secondhand markets or even like consignment stores, don't really know the value of their items. So it can be tricky if somebody kind of expects a certain amount for an item, because you might not be able to deliver on that. So once I finish sorting through a client's clothes and I have decided what I want to sell, I will give them a layout of what I took from them and how much I plan on pricing it for, but I will be very clear that that might not be the final selling price. I've never had a client have a problem with that. I think majority of them are aware that I have to send out offers, I have to offer discounts and things like that, but I know that there are people out there who can be very specific about how much they expect to make off of an item. If you come across somebody who is very particular about how much they want to make off of an item, I would suggest either showing them comps so that they can see what the actual market value is, and even at that, if they still want you to list the item at a specific price, then after maybe 30 days of it not selling or not showing any attention, then I would ask them again later if they wouldn't mind me dropping the price or lowering or offering a discount or something like that. Now, if I receive an offer on an item that I'm selling on consignment and it is lower than what I had listed it for, I'll usually contact the client and ask them if they would like me to accept that offer. If not, then I will counter, or then I'll communicate with the client and ask them if they would like me to counter, if they want me to raise the price, or whatever they want me to do. And with all of that, all that extra work that I'm doing, that's why I keep the 60% and they are keeping the 40%. A lot of people don't realize how much work goes into the back end of reselling. So that kind of just, covers all my bases and makes sure that I am getting paid for the amount of work that I have to put in. The next question that I received is, how often do I pay out clients? I typically pay out at the end of every month, and I pay out through PayPal or through Apple Pay. Usually it's only Apple Pay with like friends and family because I know who they are and I can come and find them if they try to, do anything with my money. But I think I'm going to be moving more towards PayPal payments because then I can send out invoices and really keep track of everything, make it very professional. I would highly recommend staying away from things like Venmo or Cash App just because there's no protection for either one of you guys. And technically you're not really supposed to be doing any business transactions on those platforms, or they will charge you a fee. Yes, PayPal does charge you a fee. However, for tax purposes, I think it's really important to keep track of invoices and how much you are paying out your clients. Now, this is the last question that I got, and I feel like I answered it a little bit earlier, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in it now. So, is consigning better than retail arbitrage or thrifting? I feel like there are definitely pros and cons to consignment. Some pros would be that you initially get free inventory. There's no upfront payment that you need to make. You can typically find some really great brands. I have learned about so many brands from doing consignment, and I get to get inventory that I wouldn't necessarily find at my local Goodwill or something like that. It's also a great way to get bulk inventory without having to do a whole bunch of sourcing trips, and it can really save you some time. On the other hand, you're not getting to keep all of the profit. You have to split it with somebody else. Another thing is that you don't necessarily have the say over whether you can accept an offer. You may have to consult with your client. I mean, some clients just give you full reign and let you make the decisions, which is, I think, great. That's like an ideal customer. But some customers are very particular about how much money they want to receive. And that's fine too. You just have to kind of lay out boundaries and let them know that you are the expert in the field, and that's why they came to you to sell their stuff rather than them selling it themselves. And I feel like the pros and cons are pretty even. Like, I wouldn't say that necessarily one is better than the other. Of course, I feel like thrifting is always going to be fun because it's more of like the thrill of the hunt. But I like consignment because it also helps me kind of build a community and make myself known as a reseller, as a consigner. So I don't know, it kind of makes me feel like a little bit more professional, like I'm offering services to other people, which I think is fun, and it's a cool way to diversify what I'm doing in my reselling business. Overall, I know that a lot of people had a lot of questions, and I could tell from the questions that I was receiving that a lot of people have like some kind of fear of consignment. They just think it's a really big mess, or that there are all these rules that you have to follow. But at the end of the day, if you decide to consign and sell other people's clothes, it is your business, and you are allowed to make whatever rules or whatever policies that you want. If you want to protect yourself in a certain way and only sell certain things at certain price points, that is totally up to you. It is your business. You are the person that is selling the items. So essentially you get to make up your own contract and how you want this business to run. If you prefer to keep 70% and pay your clients out 30%, that's totally fair. I am all for it. I think that as a business owner and as somebody who is providing services for other people, it is 100% your right to protect yourself and make sure that you are getting paid what you deserve and that you are being treated fairly as well. So that is it for the questions. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. If you guys have anything else that you are curious about, make sure you leave them down in the comments, and I will try to answer those questions in next week's video. Maybe next week's video will answer some of your questions too. But if you guys are interested in starting consignment, I would honestly recommend trying it out. just be very clear about what you expect from people and let them know that you know what you're doing, this is your job, and build trust with your clients. I think that that's really important in this kind of line of work. I'm really hoping that I can bring on more clients and grow this into something a little bit bigger. I feel like if you live in a small town as well, this could be a really great option for you to get essentially free inventory. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!